Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to, once again, the Commissioner's Report. This week, we are looking at the educator, Dan Martinez, the team. With me this week, as you can see, we have one of his teachers, Dr. Allison.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on today.
So, Dr. Allison, what can you tell us about, Daniel as a student?
Well, Dan usually is a pretty good student, but lately it seems that he's a bit distracted.
Really?
We're trying to investigate and see what's going on. Usually he turns his work in on time and has just got everything done, but lately it seems to be a problem for him. We're not sure why.
Well, do you think it has anything to do with his love for playing fantasy football?
Well, we wondered that, and been talking about that. I wanted to talk to him. It just things can get in your way. It's a pretty intense program, especially your junior year. So that very well be. Dan gets pretty fanatical about sports, and he's a Cubs fan. So those kind of guys kind of get into it, and then when they start winning a little bit, they kind of get an attitude, and then they get disappointed, and then they have a pat saying said, "We'll wait till next year." And that seems to be the case with Dan, but we're not sure what's going on with him.
Yeah, it's funny that you said that, because actually last year, he actually had a great year, and he just couldn't finish it at the end, and, similar to the Cubs, that looks like that's the same thing that happened. So, how do you think his team season's going to go?
Well, what I found with Dan, and this happens with baseball season, and that's the first part of the school year, is that he kind of gets into it and follows the Cubs, and then once they're out of it, which is pretty early, he refocuses, does well, gets good grades. So I think that's probably what's going to happen in fantasy football. His bubble will burst because he's a Cubs fan, and he'll eventually come back to reality and do well and make those A's like he's supposed to and do outstanding in his schoolwork. But it'll take a while. But with Cubs fans, there's a turning point, and he's getting close to that.
So I think the best thing to take from this is Dan, definitely stick with the education. Sports is nice, but at the end of the day, just stick with studying and education. Dr. Allison, thank you very much.
Thank you.
For your time.
Yep.